Right, there we go. Technology, it's just such a weird and wonderful thing here that we have. So, welcome everyone to Raising Generations, Building Legacies. I am Chazelle Aus, your host of this podcast. Hopefully, one day to be a TV show or um, a small series. Who knows? Who knows? Only God knows. Hey, where we think we start with something that's just in our comfort zone, God will always push us out of it or even beyond. So I am Shazat Als. If I haven't introduced myself already yet, sorry about that. Um, I want to come to you today and say hi. This is who I am. This is why I've created the podcast. And the beauty of just having a podcast, being able to resonate with families and business owners and people of faith, and be able to share great value, great stories, and the help Christian families, help Christian faith people grow in faith, but also break generational curses. I am a testimonial of myself in the sense of that I've been through a lot. I've yeah, not I have. I am, sorry, I am the first in my family to break generational curses that have lingered for many generations before me. So, if you keep seeing me looking down, I have a tendency to go off the path sometimes when I'm like having a chat and so on. So, I like to, keep notes, especially if it's very important, like today. So I'm gonna bring in a little bit about raising generations, building legacies, the podcast, and why I've created it. So I've created it to help people, especially Christian families, learn about traumas that can be passed on from generation to generation. Talk about legacies and wealth, where we all have this not mentality, but we've been taught for so many generations that Christian people have to be poor, we must not leave a legacy, and all these things. And I am not a mum yet, I am a stepmother. But something that caught my attention was that at the age of like 18, we're trying to kick our kids out, or, so I've seen growing up. And of course, I wasn't like that. I left home when I was 17 and a half, only because it was a journey I needed to go on, and I've been through a lot. And God has made or transformed me throughout my life, and the story I can share today. So, okay, look over here again. um, what you can expect from the future of the episodes are going to be very heartfelt, in depth, lots of knowledge, lots of value, lots of connective stories to resonate with. Because let's say somebody out there has been through something that you're going through, or something that I have gone through that I can share value on, and how you can actually take better steps or take next steps to get you out of it. This is where we're going to be raw, we're going to be loving, we're going to be faith centered, sorry. We're just going to be so in depth and genuine here that I want to be able to share God's word. I want to be able to share great value, and I want to grow this community. All right. Looking down here again. So my background story, um, with my faith and, you know, what's led me up to this point. So growing up, I lost my mum when I was 5. I have a brother and a half sister, and we lost our mum when I was 5. My younger siblings were, of course, younger. And growing up with my grandmother, my half sister lived with her dad. So not to go too much into detail there, my grandmother and myself, sorry, grew up, my brother, sorry. It's been so long since I've, seen them. So to like tell the story with all of us together, it's a little, I wouldn't say difficult, but it's been a while. So growing up with my grandmother and my brother over the years, life, schooling and all that stuff, we never lived a very luxurious life. We had food on the table, we had a roof over our heads. I mean, God made sure that He provided for us. And of course, my grandmother did the best that she could with 2 grandchildren and her daughter that's, now gone. So she had this great responsibility of bringing us up. Now, over the years, went to school, went to church, grew up a Christian family. And then at 17 and a half, I had a great idea of leaving my grandmother's house and moving in with my ex. And what happened was that she was also planning to move down to Cape Town. Oh, by the way, I live in South Africa. So she was planning to move to the other side of the continent, and I was not having it. I wanted to stay with my ex, and I was like, that's it. I'm not leaving him. And through that journey with living with him, I drank. I wouldn't say it was like alcoholic wise, but I drank to forget, to numb the pain. I did drugs. Thank heavens, not any that got me addicted, but I went through drugs, did drugs with him. And it also became to such a point with him where it was physically and verbally abusive in that relationship for 2 years. And then what happened was life went on for 2 years, and I found this other gentleman. Now, of course, he's my knight in shining armor, and what can I say? He uh he was the guy that I didn't have. He was kind-hearted. The stitch or problem that was there is that he was married and was still married, and even though they were separated, he was still a married man. I lived with him for a good couple of years, but I don't know, between 7 to 9 years. I can't even roughly recall this correctly, but it was a good couple of years. And in that period, I had a miscarriage with him. I literally became his trophy girlfriend. Now, I don't know how many ladies can relate to this, but to be a trophy girlfriend is nice at the time, but you're blinded. You're very blinded. Like I was very blinded. I had blinkers on, like you know how the horses have those blinkers on. So I had my blinkers on. And of course, leaving him, not like I wouldn't say a few years ago, because I mean I've been married now or been with my current husband now for about 5 years, on the day of creating this. And yeah, after leaving him, finding my current husband, COVID happens, like what? Lockdown and all that. And becoming a life transformation coach made me see something in that relationship that I did not see before. When people say to you that this person is toxic for you, but not just one person, several people say you're not in a good space, you need to leave him and find yourself. I was so blinded by this imagination of, being in love with him, or can I say it that way? But this idea of being with him, and not losing him, but also I had my pride in my pocket, and I didn't want to just leave him and then go home. I had a lot of pride in my pocket. So anyway, to cut this short story a little shorter, he was mentally and emotionally abusive. He manipulated my emotions, he manipulated my thoughts, but it's only because I let him. Unknowingly, I let him. So, of course, that relationship passed, found my current husband, COVID strikes, and in that period of being a bartender, jumping out of the bartending industry, getting married, COVID, then getting married, and now we are like 3 years down the line, and yeah, yeah, becoming a certified life transformation coach has been the most transformational journey in myself, and especially that going through the transformation of my own coaching experience, God has showed me so much. He truly has. He has taught me so much about myself, and to see him in such a different way, it's really been beautiful. But I feel like I've now taken up most of this time to explain my history, when meantime it was just supposed to be just this little bit. But I have so much to share, So this is why I say this is why I have my notes. I'm supposed to stick to them and not just ramble off. All right, so I also need to mention that I am the co-founder of Flame Rebirth, a life transformation coaching, right? I it's been a year now. I got certified November, what are we, 2020? 2023. I got certified November 2023. All right, end of November 2023, and been a certified life transformation coach since. If you want to, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Flame Rebirth Life Transformation Coaching. Trust me, you will find me because there is another Flame Rebirth, but it's not coaching at all. So if you can't find me, just a Flame Rebirth, try Flame Rebirth Coaching. You will find me on most social media platforms. So going back over here, I think I'm gonna have a sip of water. Okay, right. Right. The role. The role of being a legacy transformation architect. Reason why I chose this title is because I have a very creative hand. I love designing when I can, especially that I've now discovered digital designing or drawing art. It's been so fantastic. I have to admit, when COVID happened, I created a digital art project. Yes, it's maybe not where very faith-centered and not Christ-like, but I made a art project that funded my coaching. And the art project was called Dragon X. And yes, it explains it pretty much just in those words. So I created Dragon Art, which I sold and then funded my coaching program. So it actually, yeah, it helped me pay for something that actually transformed my life. Honestly, it did. And that project is now over. I am thinking of starting another art project, but my heart feels very much more for the fashion side of it, which I am hoping to actually start soon. I'm really hoping to be able to start studying that very, very soon. Maybe not so much the creating of the clothing, but designing of it. But hey, heck, who knows? God might take me down that path and be like, right, you're now starting to design clothes. Like you're actually like creating fabric, using fabrics and all this kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to whatever God has planned for me, even though I do have my goals that I would like to achieve. And you know what? Even if it's goals that God doesn't want me to have, that's okay, because I know God will remove the intention, the desire of the intention. At least I know He'll do that for me. So coming back over here, you see what I mean? Okay, so why did I start the podcast? Building wealth and legacies. My journey of transformation and faith to create this space. The need, yeah, the need of talks about challenges. Okay, so you can see why again I wrote down these things. So building wealth and legacies. Again, growing up, we weren't a wealthy family, but we weren't poverty, even though I think we were like borderline there. Like I say, I was just grateful we had food in our bellies, we had a roof over our head, we had education. Um, we grew up a normal life. Just yeah, we weren't very privileged, like having sweets and all those things were actually, extras that were actually quite nice to have. So building legacies is breaking the generational money belief lies that we've been taught for so many generations that have become beliefs. This is what I'm after. I'm after ready to break those beliefs. That's why the space is here, is to help Christian families know that if you're in a space of struggle financially, you don't have to be there. And you don't have to believe the lies and why you're there. So um yeah, my journey of transformation, I think I've pretty much covered that, but it's also to resonate with others as well that have been through a similar journey that I have, to have seen how God has transformed us. It's just also kind of great. The need of, oh, sorry, my nose is so itchy. Oh, where am I? Where am I? The need of talks about challenges. So growing up as well, yeah, through my relationships, that apparently was passed on. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. My nose is just so itchy right now. So going through the challenges of being in abusive relationships, that was generational. I realized that. I discovered that. And I have a first in my bloodline to break that. Um, being raped by three different men 3 different times in my life, but also in a period of being with my exes, not being in the right space. So I know why it happened in a sense of why it occurred with thought patterns and all that. So I go much more in depth with that in my coaching. And hopefully I can share that as well in the future. So I apologize in the background if you guys can hear the little noises. That's my bird. Hopefully I will one day have my own space and my own office because right now we're having this. So to come back, yes. And then what you guys can expect, like the people that I'm going to be interviewing, it's going to be parents, young adults, from teenagers and older, right? It's going to be families as well, entrepreneurs, legacy builders, and business owners, right? These are the people that I'm going to be interviewing. And there might be the occasional, I don't know, odd guest. Let's just leave it at that. There'll be an odd guest now and again, and that's okay. As long as they can give value, bring value to the space, I am all for it. Um, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? All right. So yes, themes of the podcast is going to be based around biblical principles of wealth, biblical principles in general, right? Because I got a small little story about this, which is actually quite cool. I have not read the Bible my whole life. I have tried and failed because it's a very big book with too many words and no pictures. Like it's just no. Growing up, I hated reading. I really have, and even still to today, I have really terrible spelling. And my writing is actually quite good. It's just my spelling. My spelling is terrible. And I didn't like reading until this year. I gotta thank the church that I'm attending. City Hill in Hillcrest. I gotta give credit to them. They started a Bible like challenge for the year or the beginning of the year, and I started reading the Bible accordingly. And it's been a beautiful growth period where I just started reading, and now we're technically December. So for the past 3 months, I've actually started rereading Matthew again, but in a study way. And it's so beautiful to learn all the stories. Like, if you've never read the Bible, read the Old Testament as if it's a movie, an action-filled movie. Read it like that. And then read the New Testament in a similar way, but as if you're reading something that's actually going to teach you something about who Jesus is and who God is. Oh man, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It's just so cool. Like I said, I've never read the Bible until this year, where I've actually started to learn to read it differently and not just read it as a book. So, coming back, you see what I mean? You see what I mean? I veer off the path here. So, biblical principles of wealth, breaking generational cycles. We're gonna go very deep into this because, like I said, there is so much to cover on this, and so many people don't know that they even have generational curses or cycles, generational like patterns that are passed on, and we'll work on how to break them. But it is mostly done in my coaching at Flame Rebirth, where we go very much in depth there, and we do therapies where it really we go to that moment, we grab it and we heal it, but we also draw it out. So it's just a memory, there's no emotion to it. So family unity and purpose. A lot of families, I feel like, you know, we're going to be discussing about how you as a family can serve God more, how you guys can serve, be more purposeful in the sense of like, yes, you're following God, but do you feel like you're really following him and serving him? Or are you just living life? I don't want to do that. Sorry, I just felt weird there for a moment. But are you really serving God with your life every day? Are you getting mad at the person driving in the car next to you, going crazy, and not thinking to yourself, like, what if that was God sitting there? Would you do the same thing then? you know so very lots of in depth about that, right? So coming to at the end of this now, I'm gonna ask you guys to please subscribe, please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast, and let's start helping to grow the this. I'm so sorry, I don't know what's happening there. Ah, okay, something with my alarm was about to go off there for a moment, so I apologize about that. Um, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start closing this off, and I would love it if you guys could like and share and subscribe. I do have a page on Facebook as well that I want you guys to also like get involved in, because that's I think where a lot of my stuff a lot of the new episodes I'll be releasing. And if you're not following me here on Instagram, YouTube, and I also have one on Instagram. So I will leave all my social media details in the description, that everybody can have that. And um, yeah, let me just see here. See, I had something here that I wanted to share with you guys. It's like my closing statement, and I made sure I wrote this down because I felt like that somebody could get value from this. Sorry. Um, yeah, and if you guys are interested in being on the show, please find me on social media at Shazelle Elves, or just look up Raising Generations, Building Legacies, the page on YouTube, on Instagram and Facebook. Sorry. Send me a DM there, or even comment on one of the posts, and I will reach out to you, one of my team members, hopefully when we get there. But I'm so excited about it. Yay! So the future, the future is so beautiful and so bright. I'm so happy. Anyway, guys, I thank you so much for your love and your support. It really, really will help me grow this community and be able to share great value with you all. So, just to leave you guys with this little words of wisdom, shall we say? Building a legacy isn't about wealth alone. It's about the impact we leave on our families, communities, and the kingdom of God. As we journey together on this podcast, my prayer is that you'll find inspiration and practical steps to create a legacy that reflects God's love, grace, and purpose. Remember that we do to that yeah, sorry. Remember what we do today echoes for generations to come. Let's rise to the call of building legacies that glorify God and transform lives for eternity. See you guys next time. Bye for now.